good evening, and we hope everybody is doing well tonight. We do apologize. We were having some technical issues on the previous platform that we were on, so we had to switch over to a different platform, and I got to use the headset. So I do deeply, deeply apologize for that delay in getting started, but we're here, and we appreciate you coming on, joining us, and we do have a great topic that we want to talk about tonight. So we want you to just come on in, join in with us. If you're not able to join on live, to make sure you check the replay. So because have a delay in starting, we're going to jump right into it, and we do apologize for the delay in starting. As I say, we was having some technical issues, but we thank God we got those issues kind of resolved, moved to a different platform. All right, tonight episode is episode 2, and it's understanding depression. It is more than sadness. And if we were to give tonight's topic a title, it would be Depression Isn't Weakness, it's a Signal. Let's talk about it. So, did you know that depression is one of the leading causes of disability in the world? Something to think about. And yet, so many people suffer in silence, afraid of being judged, afraid of being misunderstood, or being just dismissed altogether. But tonight, we're breaking the silence. Let's get into it. Welcome to He Cares Health Talk Podcast, your daily dose of healing wisdom from the heart of health and hope. I'm your host, Dr. Ferris Corbett, and today we're diving into a topic that touches more lives than we know, and that is the topic of depression. Now, let's be clear. Depression is more than just sadness. Okay? It's not laziness. It's not a lack of faith. It's not something you can just snap out of. Depression is a medical condition that affects how you think, how you feel, how you function emotionally, physically, and yes, even spiritually. Now, before we go any deeper tonight, let's take a moment and pause and clarify something that is very important. Something that often gets misunderstood, especially in our communities, and yes, even in our churches. Okay? Now, sadness and clinical depression are two different things. Okay? Sadness is one thing, clinical depression is another one. Sadness, it is an emotional response to things that happen in life. It is something we feel when we become upset, when we experience the loss of a loved one, the loss of a friend, the loss of a family pet, or if we have some type of disappointment in our life, or some type of frustration. This is sadness. And sadness, it usually passes. It may linger for a few days, but over time, as we process and heal, sadness begins to ease. But on the other hand, clinical depression is something deeper. It's not just about feeling sad. As I said, it is a medical condition. It might last for 2 weeks or even longer. And it does not always have an obvious cause of why we feel depressed. You can have a good paying job. You can have a loving family. You can even have strong faith and still struggle with depression. That's something to let's think about. So let's break it down again a little bit more. Like I said, sadness is a feeling. Depression is a condition. Now, let's look at sadness like a passing rain cloud. We see the cloud, it comes, lets down, pour down rain, but then that cloud passes on, and then the sun begins to come back out again. Let's look at sadness that way. On the other hand, let's look at depression as being stuck in a storm with no umbrella, and we have no idea when the sun is going to come out and shine again. Now, here are a few signs that you may be dealing something a little more than being sad. So these are some signs that may indicate that you're dealing with something that may be just a little bit more than sadness. And those signs are you've lost interest in doing things that used to bring joy. So when there's something that you really love doing, I mean, it's just, you just really, really love doing this, but now all of a sudden you've lost interest in wanting to do it. It doesn't phase you anymore. You're not happy about doing it anymore. It might be a little something more than you're dealing with sadness. Also, you're constantly tired, even if you've gotten plenty of rest, a full 8 hours of sleep, but you still feel tired. Or you may feel hopeless, empty, or numb. Your appetite or your sleep is all over the place. You might sleep all day and up all night, or you might want to just eat everything in the house, or then you don't want to eat nothing at all. This may be some signals or some indication that there may be something a little more than sadness going on here. Or you feel withdrawn from your from people or your responsibility. You just don't want to be around nobody. You just want to stay closed up in your room with the door closed and things of that nature. You just don't want to be bothered with nobody. Or you have problems or struggling to concentrate or stay focused or to think clearly or even to get out of bed. So these are some indicators that there may be a little more something going on here than just sadness, okay? Now, here is the part that we do not talk about enough. We do not have that discussion enough about this. And that is, you can love God with all your heart, mind, soul, body, and strength. You can pray and fast 7 and 8 days a week. You can serve in ministry. You can be a leader. You can be a musician. You could be the pastor. You could be the prophet. You could be the evangelist. You could be a servant, some type of service in ministry. And guess what? You can still be dealing with depression. And this is the area that we really try to avoid talking about. So even in scripture, we see forms of depression. Let's look at Elijah, the prophet, who called down fire. He told God he wanted to die. Look at David, the man that was called after God's own heart. He wrote the book of Psalms of deep despair. And even Jesus in the garden said, "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow to the point of death." So if you're listening tonight and you've been feeling like something just isn't right, if you've been tucking in your feelings or trying to press your way through, but you're exhausted, please know this. You're not weak, you're not broken, and you're not alone. There is help, there is healing, and there is hope. Okay? So again, what does depression really look like? We kind of hit on some of these things, so we're not going to go too much into them. Chronic fatigue, even after you've rested. Irritability, restlessness or numbness. Feeling of hopelessness, a feeling of guilt, a feeling of worthlessness. Now, some people still laugh and smile but they are deeply depressed. And that's what we call high functioning depression. Don't let appearance fool you. Everybody that's wearing a smile may have some underlying depression that they're dealing with. Okay? Now, let's talk about some cultural and community barriers, some barriers to those things. And one of them is the old expression, what happens in this house stays in this house. These are cultural and community barriers when it comes to depression. The other one is the one that's equated to mostly religious sector is just pray about it. They tell you just pray about it, but don't offer any type of support of any kind. You also have a fear of being labeled crazy. Something is wrong with them. And there is a lack of access to quality mental health care. Now, in communities of colors, depression often gets misdiagnosed or it gets dismissed altogether. That has to change. And that starts with us. We're the ones that are the change makers. We're the ones that create the change. We're the change makers, okay? Now, I want you to know that you are not alone. Please hear me. You are not alone. There are over 21 million adults in the United States that have experienced some type of major depression. Okay? And as we said in the prelude, depression is a leading cause of disability throughout the entire world. And 1 in 5 African American adults reports symptoms of depression. And this is the sad part. But far fewer of them receive care. That has to change. Can I say that once more? 1 in 5 African Americans report symptoms of being depressed, but fewer, lesser than that, receive some type of care. That's sad, and we must change that. We are the changers. We must change that. And I want you to understand, I want you to know this, that seeking help is not weakness. It is wisdom. It is strength. Okay? So, what can we do today? What change can we do today? How can we be that change venue? Talk to someone about talk to somebody that you trust. When you're silenced, it feeds that shame. Get out and do some type of moving of your body. Even 10-minute walks help. I'm not talking about getting out and go out to the gym, get a gym membership. Just get out and walk for about 10 minutes. Seek professional help. Therapy, support, and prayer combined together works tremendously. Okay? And from our last episode, we talked about how being hydrated helps with your mind and your clarity and affects the whole body. So hydrate and nourish your brain. Hydrate and nourish your brain with water, sleep, and the type of food that you even eat. Okay? And as I said before, even David, a man after God's own heart, cried out in despair according to Psalms 42 and 11. Why, my soul, are you downcast? Why are you so disturbed within me? God is not afraid of your pain. He walks with you through it. You can be spiritual and still struggle emotionally. You can love God and still need help. Now, tonight's recap or takeaway. Depression is more than sadness. It's a health condition. I cannot stress that enough. It is a health condition. Just like you go to the doctor for diabetes, high blood pressure, kidney issues, heart issue, thyroid issue, reproductive issue, all these health conditions. Just like you go and seek out a medical doctor for your medical, your health condition, understand and know that depression is also a health condition. So if you can tell me that I need that depression demon cast out of me, then why can't I tell you that you need that cataract demon cast out of you? Something to think about it. But yet you can go to the doctor and get cataract surgery for your medical condition, but I can't go see a mental health therapist for my medical condition. I'm weak in the faith because I go see a mental health professional for my mental health condition. But you can go to a cardiologist for your heart condition, but you want me to pray and get cast out depression, then you need to get prayer and cast out for your heart condition. You see, you understand what I'm trying to say? What I'm trying to show you here is that just like you have these health condition, depression is a health condition. And just like you go to see your primary care doctor or see these specialists, mental health providers are healthcare professionals that deal with the health condition, the mental health condition of depression. It is all health condition. And if you're going to say that a person needs a demon cast out of them, or they just need to pray more, or they need to seek God more, or they're weak in the faith because they have a depression, a health condition, then the same shall hold true for you and your health conditions. Okay? I'm just saying, I'm just putting that out there. I believe in the power of prayer. I believe in the power of deliverance. But come on, let's face reality. Can we be real? Can we be real? You want me to pray about my depression, but it's okay for you to go see your doctor about your health condition. Think about it. All right, understand, you're not weak, you're human. You're in a fleshly body, okay? Healing begins when we name what hurts and reach out for help. Just like when you start having signs and symptoms, you go to your provider and tell them the signs and symptoms that you're having, and they begin to diagnose and get to the root of why these signs and symptoms are showing up in your body. And just remember, signs and symptoms are indicators that something is going wrong in the body. So it is with depression. The signs and symptoms, if I go to my mental health provider and tell them the signs and symptoms that I'm having, and we just talked about some of those indicators just a few minutes ago, so I can get that diagnosis and get the treatment that I need, just like you're going and getting the treatment and the diagnosis you need. Okay? So healing begins when we name what hurts and then begin to get help. All right, just a little brief disclaimer. This podcast is for educational and inspirational purpose only. It is not a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician, licensed counselor, or mental health provider with any questions you may have. All right, family, I want to say thank you for tuning in to this powerful episode. And if this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who might need to hear it. Okay? Hit that share button on Facebook. And if you're not following us on Facebook, please follow us on our Help Talk page on Facebook, or you can follow us on our He Cares Training and Education Center LLC Facebook page. Also, if you're not subscribed to our YouTube Health Talk channel or our YouTube He Cares Training Education Center. Please go over there, hit the little subscribe, and hit that bell button so you can get notified when we upload new material. And also make sure you give us a thumb up for this video, this podcast on tonight. Okay? All right. So if again this has resonated with you, please take the time to share it with someone that you think that might need to hear this information. Okay? And remember, depression may be part of your story, but it doesn't get to write the final chapter. Can I say that again? Depression may be a part of your story, but it does not get to write the final chapter. All right? Just know that you're loved, you're needed, you're worth the healing. All right? Be sure you join us tomorrow night between the hours of 8 p.m. and 8:30 for another heart-centered conversation right here on He Cares Health Talk podcast, where we talk health, healing, hope, and wholeness, one episode at a time. Again, I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us here tonight on Health Talk, and we hope that you have found this information to be helpful, wholesome, and that you can take it to start pulling back those layers and pulling back that mask and stop tucking that depression in and start having that really, really needed conversation. And just think about something that I said earlier that we don't often talk about is you can love God, you can fast and pray, you can serve in ministry, and still be dealing with depression. Thank you again for joining us here on He Cares Health Talk podcast. Lord's will, nothing happened. We will see you tomorrow, 8 o'clock, between 8 and 8:30 p.m. Until then, God bless you.